Hello, Bame Farm fans. Well, so last year I didn't pick much ear corn, and I had so much shelled corn that I had to put it in the ear corn bin. And we missed a whole bunch of shoveling to get here, but I had put all my covers over the elevator and the floor as such. I put them upside down. Creates a better seal to keep the rodents out, because invariably they could probably get in the end underneath the elevator down there, because it's really hard to seal that up. And I've already done a bunch of shoveling to get us down to this point, but it's really not bad. The shovel pushes across the floor nicely. Just grab, there's a pile that goes smoothly, and dump it in. Now I'm not trying to hit just a little hole in the floor like a well with an auger. Like we used this auger for a long time until the pile got, so small that it wasn't feasible. And I just started over there by the door, pulling up sheets, shoving the corn over. So we're gonna try to get this last little bit out finally, grind a load of feed and have one clean bin ready for ear corn here. But really it's not bad. This is better than running a sweep. But the floor, like I said, it's a style of floor. If I had something that wouldn't push a shovel over so easy, this would be annoying. And even with the sweep, there's still a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit of shoveling. The worst part's, right here in the middle, where we gotta go full 13 feet. It's a 27-foot bin. But that's the worst of it. The rest of it's not too bad. Once you get, towards this side and you're pushing, it's easier. Well, I gotta get that auger out at some point, but let's get this going, get a little bit of action, see what it looks like when this bin's empty. Time to flip the switches. So the aluminum elevator can jump it out fast as this one will take it, and it's all based on how quick I can shovel it into the elevator. Okay, well I gotta go shovel. I didn't have a whole lot in there. Don't want to start that thing all filled up. Well, before we get ear corn put in, we gotta do some preventative maintenance. Obviously got a new coil.
Just cut it real quick, and
Well,
I don't think these are gonna want to come apart.
yeah, then just cut it. We can get new ones if we need to.
Yeah.
But this was happening. That part of the cable there, there's already two strands that have come apart. Doesn't leave too many left. And I got this brand new roll of cable, so I'll try to keep it in the air better. That's gonna be tough to figure out. Lots of rust, and I don't know if those are carriage bolts, but I'm sure those will be broken in a way that won't be fixable. We'll take a quick look in the bin. I got the planks laid down last night. Still got to get the auger out, but here's the setup. I got this chute for a grain bin that will keep that hole open to get the pile of ear corn started, and then we'll work our way across to eventually pulling those flooring planks up. But that's what protects the elevator, and that's what I did for the shelled corn. I just laid the planks down. But it's all clean in here. Very echoey too. That'll be fun on video. But let's get this cable replaced. Keep the elevator from crashing on our heads or on the bin. Okay, the elevator is in place, and we have a shiny new cable. We'll kind of trace out the shininess. Goes from the crank to this pulley. And there's a pulley up top there. Back down another pulley. It's anchored at the very top. Takes a lot of cranking to get anywhere. But we got a lot of mechanical disadvantage to overcome, so that's why there's 3 runs of cable to help us out there. So let's bring up a wagon, we'll start dumping it in. We can probably dump some in for demonstration purposes before I get the auger out of here. Well, it'll be okay. We can get a wagon in before I gotta worry about too much. Well, since we set it up over here, like right off the driveway, last year we set it up on the back side, and there's a lot of grass and not gravel at the surface. Well, we're gonna try running this without the little drag elevator and see what happens. Not a big fan, because the drag I can have it dumping corn up the elevator here more, but like down here I'm afraid the bottom will get full of stuff, and that's where bad things happen. So let's see what happens. Okay, I know. Let's go PTO, see if it works. We have action. Something like that happens where the gears are getting underneath, there's a chance we may pop the chain off at the top, because look at that. Okay, well, experimentation gone wrong. Well, we'll see if we even make it to the top. We didn't jump off, but I watched the ears break. We're just like stuck in this cycle. Okay, well, I'm still watching the top, because I'm sure it's going to pop its sprocket off. This is why we experiment and do things thoroughly wrong. If we hold this down, there we go. Well, we got it moving up, but there's a spot here where it got mangled by the previous owners pretty well. And we tried to pop it out to make the floor come back up to the chain last year before. Now it's falling with style. There's a few ears in there. Now, we were having issues before that corn was getting underneath the chain on the way up. That's not an issue anymore. We went through and bent many of these paddles back. You might be able to see some of the bend, maybe not in that one, but the bottom was going back, and we took vice grips and made the bottom come forward, so that way it was like scooping and pushing the chain down. That seemed to solve that problem. And we had a bunch of rain last night. These have been sitting in the barn since before the rain, but at least we have empty wagons for the next time the ground is somewhat solid enough. That'll be never unless it freezes. Oh, we're unloading. Going pretty well once we figured out the paddle problem. Why it was building up over top. And I can dump it out as fast as the elevator will take it away. this stuff flows out of the wagon well. It picked clean, if only because of the, say, atmospheric moisture. And maybe like the shanks of the ear there were weak, so it'd fall off easy. And some of the wet areas, I noticed the ears were just falling off the stalks. Like if the deer ran through and jostled it enough, there'd be some ears on the ground here and there. Of course, they were small ears because it was corn that was, well, assaulted by moisture earlier in the growing season. Oh yeah, pile's still a ways down there, but it's growing. We're extra centered. I don't want to be this centered. I want the pile to be more towards the back, away from the door. Oh well, we can work on that. Part of it's how this deflector is set up. But if it wasn't here, it'd be shooting ears over the back of the bin. Now time to walk down the great staircase. Whew. Can't weigh too much more than when this thing's full of corn, right? Yay! Ground. I really need to plug there's a screening section up top with a bunch of holes. I really should plug that, because I've been getting about a wagon load, or a wheelbarrow load of shelled corn per wagon. And I thought I was picking this stuff pretty wet. I don't know if you can see it, but I think it's pretty clean for ear corn. I've definitely had dirtier, more shucks in it. I mean, the front's always going to be bad. You see that part of the wagon when it goes in. There's a few more bits, but it's not too bad.